she is known as the Queen of Content. She is the founder and CEO of the Mack Institute, and that stands for Mentoring Through Achievement, Coaching, and Knowledge. It is her passion to inspire women across the nation to live their best lives now. She is a coach, a speaker, and the author of Live Your Best Life Now, 7 Steps to Becoming Your Own Boss. And so I just want to say welcome, Philisha. How are you doing today?
Thank you. Thank you so much. Honored to be here. Thank you.
Excellent. So why don't we just jump right in? Could you share a little bit more about yourself and how you got started?
Sure. So my background, I've worked for Fortune 500 companies. I'm doing a lot of research, content development, yada, 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 right? And, I really stepped into my purpose when I stepped out and really just started working for myself. And it's been absolutely an amazing journey. I always tell people, they often see people kind of where they are, but they don't see them kind of through the peaks and the valleys of their actual journey to success. And so, and however they find that, right? And so I started out in corporate. My background, I'm a nurse practitioner. So heavily research focused, heavily research based is just something that I've always been passionate about. I'm finishing my PhD right now, and what I found is that through working with kind of my PhD and also working with content, I found that really, there's power in your truth. And there's power in your story. And so my passion is really assisting individuals in really getting crystal clear about what their message is and then monetizing it through content development and creation.
Excellent. So that is all part of the coaching that you do, or is the coaching something separate?
It is a part of the coaching. I'm a certified life coach. And it's interesting because I coach clients even on when you really hone in on what it is that you love to do and what you're passionate about, that's the thing that kind of draws people in. But there's so many different layers to all of us, right? There's so many different layers to truly the art of coaching. And that's what I love. Like, I love just having that authentic one-on-one coaching time with clients. And just seeing the transformation, like that's what really made me fall in love with coaching. Now, skill set wise, I do content, right? I do content. But the reality is when people come for content, they really need that sense of clarity, right, surrounding what they have going on in their lives, etc. And so I find that I often start off doing a lot of one-on-one coaching that really kind of just transpires to the content realm of things as well. So yeah, it definitely works hand in hand. I work really closely with individuals on really defining that message, and then really a lot of product development, right? Digital and physical products.
Now, when you're working with your clients, what do you find is the biggest challenge that they face?
I would say the biggest challenge is clarity. It's clarity. And I almost blame the beast of the internet, of social media, of even the funnels that we create as coaches, right? Because and you are probably aware of this, but we opt into different things. We get all these things that pop up on social media, and individuals are consuming information at such rapid pace. And so, sometimes it's good to just block it all out, get truly crystal clear on what someone needs. And I find that individuals are either doing a couple of things. The first thing they're doing, coaches I'm speaking of, that come to me, I primarily work with coaches and entrepreneurs, but they're like, oh, Philisha, I really want to develop a product, or I really want to get my email campaigns up and running. But then I'm like, okay, fantastic. So what do you do? And then they're like, oh, well, I'm a life coach. I make diaper cakes, all this stuff. And I'm like, whoa, let's hone it in a little bit, right? Because the reality is clarity is key. It's key. And it's a beautiful situation as coaches, as entrepreneurs, when we're so crystal clear on what we do that people will self-identify, right? They'll self-identify with us, and we truly will just kind of pull them in. So yeah, that's a long answer to your question.
Right, that's perfect. So that getting clarity how do you do that? How do you and even beyond that, how do you get them to the results that they want to see?
Absolutely, the million dollar question, right? So I'm really big on purpose and passion, right?
Mhm.
So I think it's one thing to do things. We all have to make a living, like that goes without being said. So it's one thing to do that, but it's another thing when you are divinely connected to what your passion and what your purpose is. Now, when I talk to individuals about gaining clarity and really honing and really honing in on their core messaging, the one thing that I ask them is very cliche, but it's truly a million dollar question. I say, what would you do if you took your resources out of the question, if you took your time out of the questions, if you took your limiting self-belief out of the question, what would you do? What would you do that would keep you up all night and you just feel just on 10, just ready to go at all times? And that is truly what you're passionate about. That's what you absolutely love. But the reality is you need purpose alongside your passion, because when you only have passion, life happens. Things get in the way. You get tired. So what happens? You stop, or you stop and you try something else. That maybe this will work. I saw an infomercial. Maybe I'll do this, whatever, right? But when you have purpose, purpose is the thing that will keep you going even when you're in those peaks. You know, it'll keep you going when you're on the valley and now you need to find a new valley to go to. So passion, purpose, clarity truly is, it's a million dollar answer. It's the answer to all of your questions, as far as your authentic message and how you want to serve as a coach.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I think that's such a powerful lesson that passion, purpose, and clarity. I think that's
Absolutely.
if all new coaches could grasp that before they run off in a million different directions, that would be so valuable to them.
Absolutely.
Any other advice you would give to new coaches?
You know, the one thing that I when I was knowing that was coming on here, I thought about it and I was like, wow, what are like the burning kind of things that I wish I'd known? You know, the one thing I would say is to really take time and build the foundation of your business. You know, and I'll say that again, to really take time and build the foundation of your business. And here's why. You know, we are so talented and so gifted, and the truth of the matter is individuals who are, you know, called to be amazing coaches, and it doesn't matter what background, what realm you're in, you know, we are so passionate about what we do, right? And the reality is the success that we see for ourselves, it's like magnified times 100. So we have to be prepared when we get that success, right? We can read the books, we can get by the systems, we can do whatever, but we have to truly build the foundation of our business. Now, when I talk about foundation, you may say, okay, what does that actually include? Well, for sure, it includes systems, but it also includes you having you really scaling your business. So for example, when you're first starting off, it may just be you, right? You might wear all the hats, whatever that may look like for your structure. But as you start to plan, as you should, your revenue goals, right? As you start to really hone in on your programs and things of that sort, you have to really ask yourself, how many hours is it going to take me not only to, you know, build the programs, but to actually manage everything, the back end of my business, and then the marketing component as well. And so I would say really getting crystal clear and build the foundation from the beginning, taking your time and building that foundation.
And knowing what all those pieces are, because
That's
someone
right.
may find, many coaches may find they don't want to do all those parts, and so then they want to hand that off. And I know that another part of your business provides that support, but they need to know what support they need before they before they
Absolutely.
hand it off. Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's important, and I'm so happy you brought that up, because what I found as, you know, I was, you know, building my business, is that individuals and your clients will tell you, again, the self-identification, right? They'll tell you what they need. So I was finding that individuals would be like, "Oh, Philisha, I have this amazing program that you built. I'm so excited. People are buying it." But now they don't have the support that they need to handle that. Right? So that's truly how the executive arm came about, which is administrative resources management. It's truly how it came about. And we don't do any content there. It's just the support. So I always say really listen to your clients as well, because they'll tell you, they'll self-identify.
Yeah, yeah. Another thing that new coaches and new entrepreneurs struggle with is just how they fit everything in their day. Could you walk us through a typical day? Not that anybody has typical days as an entrepreneur, but basically what is your day structured like?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So I believe in time batching. I believe in time batching. And for individuals who don't know what that is, it basically is really kind of sequencing your day out in blocks so that you know this time period I'm doing this, and you really plan your activities and your to-do list around that. So one of the things that I do is I like to maintain as much balance. They say balance doesn't exist, but I feel like people create their own sense of balance. So I like to really, create that. And so I try to start my morning with meditation and with exercise. And then it's clients, right? And so what I do is I batch my time where I have 2 days per week that I'm actually doing planning and strategy with myself and my team and my business. And then the remaining time is obviously client work, things of that sort, managing things. What I found is that, as my business has grown, is really getting the proper project management tools. It literally can replace individuals in your business. And so I really like to focus on that as well, as really having those project management tools in place, and then batching my time. And that's how I really get the most use of my time. Now, the one thing that I also like, this is very practical, is I love index cards, right? So every morning I write my to-do list on the index card. The thing is that I only use the front side of the index card. So once I run out of space, that's all the to-do items that I call them action items that I can have. And then whatever it doesn't fit over there, or if I don't get it done, I roll that over to my next index card.
Got it. Wonderful. That's a great mix of high tech and low tech.
That's right. That's right. We gotta have both. A little bit of both.
Exactly. So as an entrepreneur, and if you could recap for us, you've been in business on your own for how long?
So I also have a salon in Marietta, Georgia, and so let's even back up before then. So my first kind of start in entrepreneurship is really I had a photography studio in Virginia as I was finishing my master's, and I did photography with one of my best friends there. We had individuals in national campaigns and magazines, and we worked with high fashion photographers as well. So it was really fantastic. So from there, I sold that business, and then I moved further south, and I started my salon. The salon, I'm not a stylist, right? I just really wanted to do that model because for me, it spoke women empowerment, right? That's a whole nother conversation. And so, right. And so I started there. So all along, I would say it's been about 8 years. 8 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what part of being an entrepreneur do you find most satisfying through all the years?
The people that I touch, I always tell individuals that I mentor that, it's so easy. A lot of people think that I'm my own boss, I work for myself, whatever, but actually you work longer hours. You work longer hours, especially in the beginning. So it's not like, oh, I'm going to work for myself and I'm only going to work 2 hours a week. Like, no, doesn't happen, right? So it's like, really receiving the process is key, right? And then also, for me, again, it's just all about serving others. It's about, that purpose, my purpose, which is empowering men and women now, right? Men and women. And so that is really what I love the most.
Excellent, excellent. And you talked a little bit about how it's longer hours. Is that the biggest challenge, or is there something else?
Oh, wow, yeah. I think the biggest challenge, and I'll talk from a coaching perspective, the biggest challenge is to really stay authentic in who you are and what you do while serving the people the way in the manner that you want to serve them. And especially because I feel like nowadays, I am like, I call myself an old school coach. Like, I love the art of a mastermind. I love the true essence of a mastermind, the true essence of having a one-on-one coaching session. But a lot of individuals who are coaches, they don't even know really proper etiquette of having that one-on-one session or proper etiquette on really what a mastermind is. And so we see things online where people are doing mastermind, calling things masterminds, and it's truly not a mastermind, right? So it's like, for me, it's about really taking a step back and really respecting the art of coaching, which is why I fell in love. The first individual that I saw do a one-on-one coaching session that I just love was Valerie Burton. And she is one of the most phenomenal individuals at just one-on-one coaching, like the art of it. She can literally take you in 15 minutes from where you are to transformation just through the powerful questions that she asks. And it is an art to that. So when people ask me, well, Philisha, do you think it's not, you don't have to be certified, and I come from a background, I'm a nurse practitioner, it's highly regulated, right? We have to get certifications, etc. And so when I first started, I was wrapping my mind around this, why it's not required, right? But I feel like more and more people are getting certified, and it's something that everyone should do because it teaches you the art of coaching, the foundation, the forms you need, the follow-up, everything. It's critically important. It's helped me tremendously.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, I agree that's it's a concern that there's so many people out there who think it's just about printing up some business cards and now you're a coach and making a website and now you're a coach.
Yes, and that's a challenge because guess what? They coach people, and then individuals don't have good experiences. So then they come to us, and then it's like, well, are you really this? Are you really that? Right? So it's like respecting the art of coaching for sure.
Exactly. So let me move into some resources that might help the coaches that are watching. Is there a book that's had an impact on the coaching side of your business that you recommend?
So I read a lot. I don't have one book that stands out as far as from like a coaching perspective. But I will say this. I think that it's more so like obviously my manual from when I took my certification was like, oh my God, amazing and valuable, right? But outside of that, Coaching for Dummies is really, really great too. I read that when I first started. That's like, it breaks it down and it's really fantastic. But what I will say is that if you know what area you want to focus on, study that, right? Study that. So one thing that I would say is don't go so broad, right? Really hone in and focus on whatever it is. If you're doing empowerment, if you're doing transformation, learn, the laws of transformation, the different steps of that, and know it. And then once you learn it, really focus on what does that mean for you, right? Because I find that when you serve from a space of transparency, a space of authenticity, and you combine that with your gift, which is what you're actually going to focus on in your coaching, that's truly when you have individuals who will just be attracted to you, the law of attraction, right? And so I would say study books that are specific to your art. For me, that's curriculum development. That's stuff that most people think is boring, right? but I love it. And so it's about, writing and creative writing and sales copy and things of that sort. So whatever it is that is in your lane, obviously you have to get through the foundation stuff, but you're going to get that in the program that you're in, I'm sure. So focus on what you actually do, your niche.
Right. Excellent advice. Excellent advice. So let's, as we're wrapping up, let's learn a little bit more about you going forward. What's something new or exciting that's going on with you or the Mac Institute that you'd like to share with the viewers?
Absolutely. So much is going on, but I will pick like one thing. So we just launched the executive arm, which is the administrative resources management of our business. And literally, we focus on coaches, entrepreneurs, small business owners, but really coaches mostly. And we really assist them in building the foundation of their business. So it's really amazing because as you start to build your platform, you'll hear all these things like email marketing, so Aweber, Mailchimp, etc. All of these systems that you need. And if you're anything like most people, my hand was raised when I started. You probably don't know how to use them, or you don't know how to use them to their fullest, advantage, etc. And so, one of the things that we do that really sets the executive arm apart from a lot of individuals doing virtual assisting is we understand the language of coaches, of entrepreneurs, the funnels, the email marketing, etc. And we understand the lingo. So one of the things that I find is that when people come to the arm, they actually may need some content, because if you want us to write emails and you want to send out emails, you might need some really slamming content from the Mack Institute as well. And so that's really the most exciting piece that we have, that we just launched, that is doing exceptionally well. And we just came off of doing Business Your Charge, which was our first live event in Atlanta, and we're doing it again. I'm so excited in Sumter, South Carolina, in September. So many amazing things are going on.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, I'm sure that the viewers would like to stay in contact with you to learn more about the exciting things you have going on. How can people stay in touch with you?
Absolutely. And one of the things that, if I may, that I think is just exceptional when you're first starting is having an editorial calendar,
Oh, yeah.
right? And if you don't mind, I'll touch on what that is, because I don't know if individuals. Sure. So an editorial calendar, it's just really changing the lives of coaches, right, from a content perspective, because what it is truly, it's an Excel spreadsheet. And you may have heard of it referred to as, a cash calendar, something like that. But truly, it's a spreadsheet that you really organize all of your content. When I say content, I mean your blogs, your social media posts, things of that sort. And you're able to really repurpose it, thus increasing your impact, influence, and income in your business. And so one of the things, we have our own version of this editorial calendar. And if anyone's interested, I would just give it to you just for sharing this honor with you. And you can just email. It's the easiest way to email: info@themackinstitute.com. And just put editorial calendar in the subject line. I'll send it to you. But it's amazing. It's incredible. And you can reach me at www.themackinstitute.com. And we are headquartered in Atlanta, Georgia. So if you're ever in Hotlanta, definitely come to the Mack Institute as well.
Excellent, excellent. I'm sure people will take advantage of that free editorial calendar. That was info@themackinstitute.com. Send her an email with editorial calendar in the subject line. And as we close out, are there any final thoughts you'd like to leave with our viewers?
The one thing I would say is that I remember having my course and, really getting certified. And I remember the excitement, not only the excitement about kind of the new journey and the new walk, but just trust the process. Trust the process. So no max, don't look right, don't look left, stay in your lane and trust the process. It is absolutely critically important. And and enjoy it. Hone in, study your craft, take it seriously, respect the art of coaching, and just trust the process. That's my final word of wisdom.
Trust the process. So important. Thank you so much. This has been an interview with Ms. Philisha Mack, known as the Queen of Content from the Mack Institute. And I am Dr. Denise Dennis. I thank you so much for paying attention. Thanks so much, Philisha, for being our guest today.
My pleasure.
Bye.
Bye.